Hey, what's up guys? Gannon here, and yeah, went out today, bought a new wide angle lens, 10 by 18 millimeter, and I bought a new microphone for my camera. Been working a lot, have some extra money, so I decided to invest it into the channel since we're getting serious about it. So I hope that the camera angle is a little bit cool now. You get to see a little bit more of the background, and then also I hope the audio quality is better. That is the most important thing, because my audio quality was so bad before. I was just using the microphone on the camera and you can just hear like constant air from my computer all the time, so I had to play the music awkwardly loud. I think if you just go to the video before this, you'll be able to tell. Anyways, I wanted to make kind of just a general impressions on what I think is going to happen in Wano right now without giving too much away, because I do intend to make more in-depth analysis into all of these topics and to Wano in general in other videos. And right now, since this is just a general synopsis in what I think about Wano, I'd like to get started by talking about the anime consistency has just totally rose. Like, the animation has gotten so much better. You could see, even as a manga reader, that there is supposed to be kind of a pastel aesthetic to Wano that looks really nice from all the cover arts and extra art and everything, and they're definitely illustrating it and making it come to life in the anime. I think ever since about Zoe, I have just totally stopped watching the One Piece anime after, you know, it was a little bit after Zoe, like, just starting to get an old cake, because the animation was just kept becoming like increasingly so horrid at sometimes. There were so many JoJo level duangs that were just like a common theme that it just broke immersion. Like, you can't have this totally oh my god, Donna, my cat, is rubbing my leg right now, and she's like gonna move the camera. Yeah, but anyways, you can't have Katakuri fucking non-canon wiggling across the floor like a mochi slime disgusting 2 FPS slug, and then like a couple episodes later have him be battling Luffy in this cinema-like context. This animation is so beautiful and fluid. They're just beating the shit out of each other in this glorious battle, but you broke the immersion when you depicted Katakuri before this just in this horrible animation. Spoilers from Naruto Shippuden, but if you're watching this video right now and you haven't watched Naruto Shippuden yet, you're just kind of like committing a sin anyways. Go watch that shit. But yeah, when Asuma Sensei dies, like the actual fucking episode where he dies is animated less well than his funeral. Like, I remember the animation was kind of dropping off a little bit in Naruto as well. Asuma dying and everything, it goes through the scene, and the animation's kind of a little bit dippy at sometimes throughout the fight and around when the fight was depicted. But when you actually go to the episode where Asuma is laid to rest, it's like fucking Studio Ghibli produced that shit. Like, you can't really have that huge of a gap between your worst and your best, and then also your worst is just kind of like so common. It's a little bit lazy. I would just much prefer One Piece anime coming out once every other week for the quality improved, but apparently that's not necessary, since the producer of Wano produced like the Broly movie, and then he also produced one of the One Piece movies, and so I think they're getting this shit locked down. And I think they also brought in some separate producer to animate the Luffy versus Katakuri fight exclusively, and I don't know if they've done that in the past, so I think that kind of just gives you an example of where their priorities are in Whole Cake versus Wano, and that should also give you some kind of prediction of how epic Wano is going to be. Alright, another thing, the red scabbards are increasingly becoming cooler every time we see them. Before, I kind of questioned how strong the samurai would be because of what Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo were depicted like before we got to Wano, but like everything depicted before Wano, I think our power levels are becoming a little bit more clear right now because of a couple storytelling tools that Oda is using, which is one of those things that I would like to talk about in a separate video, because I don't feel like I just want to bring it up here. I think it's really important to talk about, so separate video type of thing. But Oda is using some storytelling techniques to make the power levels more clear, and he's giving us a lot of tools basically to infer in what direction we're going. So for instance, I think that the previous Red Scabbards that we saw before Wano, there's no reason why Kinemon shouldn't have been able to defend himself in a lot of the instances he was put in. Oda has just made it out to seem like bad luck, and we really haven't seen a serious reflection of what Kinemon himself is capable of. I bet him, Kandro, and Raizo are really strong. I mean, you've seen Ashura Doji seemingly put a lethal, basically like battle determining level wound on Jack and just absolutely fodderizing him. So yeah, the samurai and everything and all these characters are going to get buffed up. The only characters that are going to get debuffed obviously are like the Yonko, and then Kaido's commanders have already been debuffed outside of King. But yep, the power levels are becoming more and more clear. Red Scabbards seem cool. I think guys, you know, becoming more and more woke and more aware. Every day I grow wiser. I think I'm going to be a little less arrogant in my videos from now on. I mean, I should be confident in the things I say, but I should never think that I'm going to be so right to the point of arrogance. I think I went back to some of my old videos and I saw a trend of stuff that I've kind of gotten wrong at this point in Wano, because Wano is kind of a little bit unpredictable, and I was so sure of myself before. My fate of Shisui, or my fate of Shusui video has basically been debunked at this point. I thought Zoro cared a lot more about Shusui, but really he seems to care a lot more about just having 3 swords as his belt. 3 swords at his belt than Shusui itself. I think Shusui's a badass sword. I think there is still a minor possibility that Zoro could keep it, but basically. And also, it's becoming more and more clear that the power dynamic in the way that Kaido and his commanders are going to be defeated is being also determined by Oda's storytelling techniques. And then another thing is that, like, I'm pretty confident that it's been set up that Luffy and Kid and then Law, you know what I mean, are going to fight Kaido and perhaps maybe Big Mom. It's been alluded to that they are going to, you know, spoiler alert if you haven't read last chapter, but if you haven't read the last chapter, then like, why are you here watching this video? Big Mom and Kaido are like colluding to become a pirate alliance and maybe destroy Luffy together. I mean, right now Kaido doesn't really see Luffy as much of a threat, so I really doubt they're kind of colluding to defeat Straw Hat. I think they might be drunk, just having a conversation. They might not team up at all. But it's gonna be like Luffy and Kid, because Kid is basically the only other person among the supernovas besides Luffy and Zoro who I think has, oh, and Law maybe. Law hasn't really shown like the true traits of a true pirate. He just kind of shows the traits of just being a decent guy, but Kid really shows the true traits of being a pirate. Like, this guy, at first, he had such a high bounty, he seems like he was going to be Luffy's rival at one point in the series, and he kind of is in a way. He seems to more reflect like a Shiki character when people want to make these archetype parallels between the present and the older characters. They always kind of compare Kid to Shiki. Kid isn't always morally right, like he's slaughtered people before, and they try to shed him more of a bad light because they just said that he slaughtered innocent civilians, but upon hearing his take, he actually just kind of slaughtered anybody that would doubt his dream, which is actually kind of fucking badass that he believes in his dream so much that he just like literally murders you if you start doubting him. So basically he's the only one who shows the actual properties of being a true pirate. He cares about his crew, he cares about obviously being free, not taking not taking shit from anybody. So it's gonna be a Luffy carrying in the fight against whatever Yonkos they're gonna fight. Zoro is going to be fighting against King, because I really don't see any other character so far that is going to be worthy of Zoro's, like, is going to be basically worthy to fight Zoro, because it needs to be challenging. Zoro definitely needs to be first commander level if Luffy attempts to become anywhere near Yonko level. Like, as you can see, and I think most people have the consensus now, but back when I made my first video was when Luffy was just announced to be a, you know, the 5th Yonko, and there was actually a lot of, you know, idiots in the One Piece community who believed that Luffy was a legit Yonko at that point. But Luffy is totally not a Yonko. He's nowhere near the level of one. Like, he has kind of the criteria to be one. That's why he was kind of called the fifth Yonko, because there can't be a fifth Yonko, but if there was gonna be one, this is the contender. This is the guy who's on their doorstep. I think that's really more what they were trying to say there in a storytelling standpoint, not from like literally what the newspaper was trying to say. Let's make that very clear. The newspaper was just trying to cap as hard as physically possible. But yeah, the only person I really see worthy of Zoro's strength, somebody who would provide a decent challenge for Zoro, and I think decent means that Zoro has to go like all out to fight him, is going to be King, because King is the cool character who hasn't really talked much. Queen is going to fight Sanji. Queen has been shown a lot. Queen has kind of been dumbed down a little bit. I believe that by the time Sanji needs to fight Queen, Sanji's going to fight Queen, and Sanji's probably going to be like almost dead by the time that fight has ended and he's become victorious, or he's gonna win in kind of a cheesy way, because I'm a little bit disappointed with Sanji. He's a character who I continually disrespect after the time skip, because I don't believe he's grown that much, and his strength gain, his power up in Wano is just him relying on a fucking Power Ranger suit. So while I don't dislike Sanji as a character or anything, I love him, I just kind of want him to himself grow a little bit more, and I think that this fight is going to force him to, and he's going to be like almost dead by the end of it. And then honestly, like, if there was anybody who is contender right now in the series, like knowledge-wise of all the characters we know that exist in the One Piece universe, there are two people who are contending for the spot for the world's strongest fishman, and that's Jinbei and Jack. So Jinbei's gonna have to fight Jack, I think, just for that whole lineup to make sense, because it's gonna be Luffy and then all of Kaido's commanders versus Luffy's commanders, and then Luffy is going to get help from Kid and then Law to fight Kaido. But yeah, anyways, guys, those are just some of the things that I really wanted to get out of the way. Some of my opinions on Wano so far. I think it's definitely being set up to be the most epic and great arc of One Piece ever. So I think if you're a One Piece fan and you're reading it chapter to chapter or watching it episode to episode, you're probably having a lot of fun right now. All right, with that, guys, please, since I am actually trying to get this channel to grow now, please slap that mo-fucking like button. It helps the YouTube algorithms promote me and everything. And then always, more importantly, always, like, more important than anything, please leave a comment. They seriously make my day replying to them and reading them. It really gets, it's really like worth, you know, going through the work of editing these videos and everything just to kind of interact with you guys. So please leave a comment. It really does make my day. And lastly, if you know a friend that might like my content, might like, you know, like sci-fi, anime, technology, anything like that, please share some of my content, and it would mean the absolute world to me. All right, and with that, guys, I'm gonna go bake some muffins and eat some muffins for dinner. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm having dessert for dinner tonight. All right, guys, I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna have to see you in the next one.